Little Johnny went on a camping trip. All the tents were taken, so he shared one with the teacher. Little Johnny says, "Can I play with your belly button? My mom always lets me when we camp." The teacher says, "Sure." 5 minutes later, the teacher says, "Whoa, whoa, whoa, that's not a belly button." Little Johnny says, "Whoa, whoa, whoa, that's not a finger." A man is very sick and thinks he is going to die soon, so he asks his wife, "Martha, I will not be here much longer, and I need to know something. In all of our 50 years together, did you ever cheat on me?" Martha answers, "Well, Henry, I must tell you the truth. Yes, I did cheat on you 3 times, but there was always a good reason." Henry feels upset by her answer but says, "I had no idea." "Can you explain what you mean by good reasons?" Martha explains, "The first time was long ago, right after we got married. We were going to lose our house because we couldn't pay the money we owed. Do you remember that evening I went to see the bank man, and the next day he told you we could have more time to pay?" Henry remembers the visit to the bank and replies, "I can forgive you for that. You stayed at our house. But what happened the second time?" Martha says, "Do you remember when you were very sick, and we didn't have the money for the operation you needed? I went to see your doctor at night, and if you remember, he did the operation and didn't charge us." "I remember that," said Henry. "You did it to save my life, so I can forgive you for that. Now, what about the third time?" "All right," Martha says. "So do you remember when you wanted to be the president of your golf club, and you were 73 votes short?" A woman who works in the night is standing outside a hotel and sees an old man walking slowly by. She hasn't had a customer in a long time, so she makes a whistling sound at him and shouts, "Hey, would you like to have some fun time with me?" The old man answers, "But I might not be able to." "Oh, come on," she cuts him off. "Just give it a try." The old man thinks for a moment, then shrugs, and they both go inside. Once they are in the room, the old man surprises her by having energy like a young man for more than an hour. When he's finally done, the tired woman says in surprise, "I thought you said you wouldn't be able to." The old man smiles and replies, "Give you any money." Bill walked into his favorite bar with a big smile on his face and sat on a stool. He proudly declared, "My wife Susie must really love me more than any woman has ever loved any man." The bartender looked at him, raised an eyebrow, and asked, "Oh yeah? What makes you think so?" Bill, still beaming with pride, replied, "Well, last week I wasn't feeling well, so I had to stay home from work for a couple of days." He continued, "And Susie, oh, she was so excited to have me at home. She seemed absolutely thrilled. She was so happy, in fact, that every time someone came to our house, whether it was the mailman or a delivery guy, she would rush out to the driveway, waving her arms and shouting at the top of her lungs, 'My husband's home. My husband's home.'" A man had to go away for work for a long time. He knew his wife loved attention, so he thought he'd buy her a special toy to keep her happy while he was gone. He went to a store that sold adult toys and looked around. He went to find something unique for his wife and started talking to the old man who owned the store about it. The old man showed him many items, but nothing seemed right. Finally, the old man mentioned the voodoo dildo. The man was curious and asked about it. The old man showed him a simple-looking dildo in a fancy box. The man laughed and said, "It looks like every other dildo here." The old man then showed him its magic. He said, "Voodoo dildo, the door." The dildo flew and started knocking against the door so hard it almost broke it. But with a command, Voodoo dildo returned to box. It stopped and returned to the box. The man was impressed and bought it. He gave it to his wife and told her to say, "Voodoo dildo, my crotch," to use it. After a few days, his wife felt lonely and decided to use it. It was amazing, but after a while, she wanted to stop. But it was stuck. Her husband forgot to tell her how to stop it. She decided to go to the hospital, still feeling the effects of the toy while driving. A policeman saw her swerving and stopped her. He asked her if she had been drinking. She explained, "No, I have this voodoo dildo stuck, and it won't stop." The officer didn't believe her and said, "Voodoo dildo my butt." In a school, a teacher thought of a funny quiz and asked her students, "Who knows which animal has a beak and feathers?" A kid said excitedly, "A duck." The teacher laughed and said, "Right, but it could be a goose too." Next, she asked, Which animal has claws and fur? Another kid said quickly, a dog. The teacher, pleased, said, very good. But remember, it could be a cat too. Then little Johnny, who looked like he was up to something, said, teacher, I have a question for you. The teacher was curious and said, okay, ask. Johnny thought for a bit and then asked, what is something that starts long, hard, and dry, but becomes soft, short, and wet when it goes into something warm and soft? The teacher, shocked and angry, slapped little Johnny, making the other kids gasp. But Johnny just smiled and said, right answer. But it could have also been a chewing gum. Little Johnny's dad thinks of a game to keep Johnny busy. He says to Johnny, do you want to play a fun game, Johnny? Curious, little Johnny asks, what game are we playing? His dad says, for the next hour, sit on the front porch, count how many blue cars drive by. To make the game more appealing, he hands little Johnny a sweet candy and sends him off to the front porch, hoping to have some peaceful time in his bedroom. As Johnny sits there with his candy, enjoying counting the cars, he suddenly yells, Dad, Bobby's parents are having sex. His dad, surprised and a bit anxious, shouts back from his bedroom, how on earth would you know that? Little Johnny shouts in response, because Bobby is sitting on his front porch with a candy too, counting blue cars. Larry from Mississippi loved to hunt and was really good at it. One evening, he went into the local tavern and started telling everyone there about his excellent hunting skills. Everyone in town knew that Larry was a sharp shooter. But that evening, there was a visitor in the tavern, a hunter from another place. He said to Larry, if you are so skilled in hunting, why not show everyone here how good you really are? Larry, sipping his drink, responded, sure. Blindfold me, and I can still touch any animal skin you have and tell you what animal it is and how it was killed. If I get it right, you buy me a drink. How about it? The visitor thought Larry could never do it, and so he agreed. People started gathering around them, curious to see who would win. The barkeeper blindfolded Larry tightly, and then they brought him his first animal skin to identify. Larry touched it carefully and then declared, this is bear skin, and it was shot with a 308 rifle. Everyone in the bar was shocked. Larry was correct. He received his drink, and he quickly drank it down. Another skin was brought, this time from someone's car. Larry took his time and then said, this is elk skin, and it was shot with a 7mm mag rifle. Larry was correct, again and again, winning round after round of drinks. Finally, Larry, barely able to walk, made his way home and fell into a deep sleep. The next morning, he woke up to see a big black eye in the mirror. He said to his wife, I know I had a lot to drink last night, but I didn't think I got into a fight. Where did this black eye come from? His wife, very angry, said, I gave it to you. You came to bed, put your hand in my underwear, and after a little bit, you shouted out loud, skunk, killed with an axe. Walter had a yearly tradition with his wife, Ethel, to visit the state fair, and every single year, without fail, he would express his longing to Ethel. Ethel, it's been my dream to ride in that helicopter. However, Ethel, ever the practical one, would always respond, I understand, Walter, but the helicopter ride is $50, and you know, $50 is $50. So the years went by, and they visited the fair again. Walter, feeling the weight of his 87 years, pleaded with Ethel, Ethel, I'm 87 now. If I don't experience that helicopter ride this year, I might never have another opportunity. Ethel, as always, replied, Walter, that helicopters still cost $50, and $50 is still $50. This time around, the helicopter pilot had been listening in on the conversation between Walter and Ethel and decided to make them an offer. Look, I can see how much you want to ride in the helicopter. Here's the deal. I'll take you both up in the helicopter, and if you can manage to stay quiet for the entire ride without uttering a single word, I won't charge you anything. However, if you speak even one word, it's going to cost you $50. Walter and Ethel thought it over briefly and agreed to the deal. They climbed into the helicopter, and up they went into the sky. The pilot pulled off an impressive array of fancy maneuvers and daring tricks, trying to elicit any kind of reaction, but Walter and Ethel remained completely silent. The pilot kept performing increasingly daring tricks, but the couple didn't utter a single word. Finally, they landed safely back on the ground. The pilot was utterly impressed and said to Walter, Sir, I must commend you. I pulled off every trick in the book to make you shout or scream, but you remained silent. I'm really, truly impressed." Walter, with a slight smirk on his face, replied, "To tell you the truth, I was tempted to say something when Ethel fell out of the helicopter. But then I thought, $50 is $50.